All right, welcome back to Blue by 90. I'm Justin, joined by Tanner. It is July 2nd. We're presented by Feldman Chevrolet of Highland. Want to give another shout out to those guys hooking our Wolverine athletes up and us, and I don't know if you saw it, Tanner, but we are actually going to be out there. I gave a little teaser to this the other day. We're going to be out there at Feldman Chevrolet of Highland July 12th with somebody significant, I would say. Bryce. Have you heard of Bryce Underwood?
I thought you were gonna say Bryce Marriage. I was about to be fired up.
I mean, he may be there too, but we'll have Bryce Underwood, Marlon Klein, Fred Moore, Donovan McCulley. We got a whole list of guys that will be out there doing a little meet and greet. We'll be doing a live pod, so I'm pretty pumped for that.
Yeah. That'll be something that we're going to have to figure out from a technology standpoint that I always look forward to. It's very easy to do it from the comfort of your office virtually here, but we'll have to, figure that out.
I mean, we have like a very high tech team for us, It'll just be like, random. Nolan will just be, plugging shit in, and we have no idea.
Yeah, just like trial and error, see what works, see what doesn't, and then forget what works, and then it's like, oh, I actually already tested this. I don't need.
And our suggestions are like, did you unplug it and plug it back in again? Like, did you
clear your cache and cookies? Or
that's
it. No, that's going to be a great time, man. I'm looking forward to that. That should be a lot of fun. Again, I might get roped into buying a new truck, which who knows?
Oh, I love that for you.
If they hook it up, I need the NIL deal. For me, I've got 500 plus connections on LinkedIn. I mean,
wow,
it's not like I'm a slouch in my own right.
Wow.
So
okay, so
no, that's.
I'll be your agent in that. I'll be like, hey, I'll pull up like your. Sometimes I would have done that for an athlete where I have like their social media demographics and analytics and stuff. I'll just do that for your LinkedIn. I'll show the Feldman sales guys and dude, I mean, they might just pass out right there.
Like, hey, this guy, his company pays for LinkedIn Premium, but he doesn't take advantage of it. So you want him on your squad
for sure. Well. In other news, business is booming. The month of June was incredible for Michigan football recruiting. Can I actually show you something that I went up to Charlevoix this past weekend, and just for like a up north summer trip with some friends, and we went to kind of this dive bar up in Charlevoix. It's called Townhouse if you've ever been there, and I have a few beers, just casually drinking. And all of a sudden I look behind the bar and there are these helmets that are like hanging behind the bar. And I'm like, man, those look kind of cool. What are those? And I walk over and immediately I had to get it. I couldn't have gotten my wallet out faster. So I've got this now in my possession, which I mean is just unbelievable. I mean,
wow.
And
is that light work? Oh yeah.
I mean, this is unreal, right?
This is great for the Spotify listeners.
For sure. It's a
hard hat.
Listeners, it's a hard hat with a beacon light on the top.
Don't give that to Waddy, because it may turn into something more that we don't need at the tailgates. Man, that's electric. I don't know if I would. I don't know. I like my mini helmets.
Well, I mean, I just feel like here's what I was thinking though. While I was purchasing it, I was like, man, I needed this for the month of June because this could have been great every time we get a commitment, which is like every 12 hours, right? At this point, I could just like do this, and then that's like the bat signal that we got to commit. Yeah,
it's been pretty gnarly the last month or so, and I really did enjoy. So Michigan does this pretty regularly, where they roll into May, and people. By people, I mean Ohio State and Michigan State fans are like, oh, look at your stupid recruiting class. And it's like, dude, signing days in 7 months. It's not that big of a deal. We're going to be fine. Michigan's going – I don't know if you guys know this. Michigan is going to get guys to come to play football at the University of Michigan.
They've actually done that for hundreds of years.
So they're gonna get guys to come play. And so there was a lot of like, oh, look at this screenshot on May 30th. Like,
I can't wait. By the way, if somebody's going to screenshot this and it's going to be all over Twitter, I can't wait. So
I think you should wear it the rest of the show. It really contrasts my Jeff Gordon rope hat very well.
I'm only bringing it out for the rest of the show if we get a commit in the next hour, which possible. This rate, you know,
I mean, we might get 3 in the next hour. Like it's crazy. So all the rival fans were like, oh, look at Michigan's recruiting. Like MSU, hey brother, it was fun. It was fun being neck and neck for a little bit. That's over.
I mean,
and Ohio State,
far over.
Michigan's right on your ass. Like you got put in a body bag for Carter Meadows, by the way. And that was an OSU, Penn State, Michigan battle, and Michigan stuffed those guys into the locker.
And also, like, how many Ohio State fans went from like, Carter Meadows is our guy. Like, this is like one of the most important recruitments that we have right now. Like top target. And then he goes to Michigan. Oh, really not a big deal.
I actually saw like there were some rational folks who were like, this is not good, because the next day there was a commitment for, I do not remember the guy's name, but he was their next remaining edge target, and he went to Ole Miss, and they're just like panicking. So you hate to see it, but it's not like they've had the best edges in the world recently.
That's true.
So, I mean, you look at Sawyer and JTT, like, certainly they both were top 5 in the country, did not live up to expectations.
Yeah.
Fell in the draft, right? So you combine that with what Michigan has put in the NFL lately. I mean, Josiah Stewart coming in from Coastal Carolina as a 3rd-round pick. I mean, the defensive line and Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant. Like, I mean,
genuinely, I have a question for you. Do you think if Jack Sawyer beats Michigan if it's flipped, if Jack Sawyer goes 4-0 against Michigan, which, I mean, that's like that will never happen, obviously, because it didn't. He's 0-4.
Yeah.
But does he go like first round?
No.
I'm curious how that affects. I just sometimes that can affect like how people are portrayed.
No, I don't think so at all. Like there was never a moment. Well, there was a couple times like against Missouri when he was coming back for last year in that bowl game. He had like 3 sacks, and I was like, oh, okay. But then he never really put it fully together. I mean, I will say he had, obviously a huge pick against Michigan, which that was going to be his. We talked about this. That was like his moment. And then Kalel Moling, well, their offense kind of flubbed it up, and then Kalel Moling is like, nah, man, this is our game.
It is funny because that, like, if in that literal like 5-minute span of him getting that pick, it like that is the defining moment of his career, right? Like if that plays out differently, like that's played on repeat. That is his moment of like revenge. All right, I got it, at all this stuff. And then Kalel Moling just too manly.
Do you think Gus Johnson got a lozenge like at like a commercial break or something? Like that? We're getting off track, man.
We are. All right. Business is booming.
Yes, it is. This recruiting class, I mean, man, I'll tell you what, and it's great. I mean, Zion Robinson, top 100 wide receiver from the state of Texas, 2nd year in a row. He's similarly ranked to Andrew Marsh. They're still in for Travis Johnson out of Virginia, who I think is a stud, like really smooth route runner, like just kind of you see a play receiver, you're like, yeah, that's the kind of guy I want on my team. And then Calvin Russell, the 5-star out of South Florida, is Michigan has been kind of the constant there. So like just focusing on the receivers has obviously been a bit of an issue for Michigan over the last however many years. Just recruiting wise. I mean, obviously, 2023, you have Roman, you have CJ, but you don't have guys to kind of replace those 2 on the roster last year. And that really causes some issues in the pass game. So shout out to Ron Bellamy, man. I think if he can get these 2, signed, sealed, and delivered, like that would be
his best work. so far.
Absolutely. And I mean, again, he's still having to sell on just kind of a dream. Makes it a lot easier when you've got Bryce Underwood in the fold. But I certainly am excited about the potential of these receivers if they're, because Travis Johnson commits, I want to say this week, maybe the 5th of July. He is got a lot of crystal balls in.
Yeah.
And I think he's a dog, dude. Like, you should go watch his film. He's fun to watch. So,
well,
yeah,
I think
excited
too,
about that.
I mean, just talking about these receivers, like obviously things change so much when you go from JJ McCarthy and now you have Bryce Underwood, on board. It's like, that's a pretty good recruiting pitch, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, come play with this 6'5" like monster that can chuck it, 100 yards.
Right.
And so I think that helps a ton. And I hope that they can parlay that. But, Michigan goes from, I was talking to our guy BB's Big House yesterday, which go check out his stuff, please, on Twitter. He puts out incredible stuff in terms of like analysis. But
very good with Excel.
Very good with spreadsheets for sure. And color coded. But like Michigan went from in the month of June, now they're sitting at 9. They went from mid 30s to top 10 within like 2 weeks. Right. And so I just, the momentum, I don't know, Tanner, have you ever seen anything like this where like, at least I'm sure schools have done it before, but from a Michigan aspect, I can't remember the last time Michigan had this much momentum in a short span.
I think the last time would have been 2019, because 2019, like June, they had I remember this because it was like my birthday weekend and I was golfing with we had like 2 foursomes. So we were golfing and, I'm with a bunch of Nebraska fans when I lived in Omaha at the time. And we always like to talk trash, but I just remember like commit. And one of them was Corum.
Okay.
One was Chris Jenkins. I mean, there's like a list of like 4 in a row where it's all guys that were huge contributors to the national championship team. That was close, but this is, I think, quality is probably the best run that I've seen. I mean, it's like all have been basically 4 stars or guys like Marky Walbridge that Michigan thinks has some of the best tape of an offensive tackle in the 2026 class.
Right.
Like I've read that they think his tape compares to Jackson Cantwell.
Wow.
And to your point, Justin, of like spending all that money,
go find the diamond in the rough, man. That's I've said it. I think that obviously you want to get 5 stars. Like that is the key to, building a program. The data shows, right? There's a reason why Bama and Georgia were so good for so long. And it's because in Clemson, they got 5-star recruits, right? Like that is really, it is a line there. But I think in the NIL world, these 4-star guys are a high 3-star that you can find the diamond in the rough. And you can pay half, right? Like you can spend half the money on it. I think that that's huge. So if they, if they really think that Marky Walbridge can be even near Jackson Cantwell, then that is money well spent and a great job by Sean McGee and the staff, because I think that is like, people don't understand, like, obviously, we don't see the dollar amounts, right, that are in the Champion Circle bank account and the, how much they're spending on who and what and all that.
Well, some people know.
Some people know, but
not us, but other outlets. They just throw numbers at the wall.
Well, anybody can just make up numbers out there, So
no, that's my bad. I thought they had them. I didn't know. I thought they had the real numbers all the time.
Those are real?
I think they're real.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. Probably not. But anyways, I think that I just think that you have to be very crafty, like in how you build a class like this, because it isn't unlimited money. As much as everyone thinks like, Larry Ellison and Joe Lynn and everybody can just write blank checks. Like, yes, theoretically they can. They aren't going to, and that's just not how this works. So I really like how they're building this class. I mean, you look at just what happened in June here. You started off the month with Mikhail Blade and Alistair Vallejo. Then you get Malachi Lee, who I think, just going to be a dog. You know, I love
give
that
me any highly rated offensive tackle who is that big from Hawaii, Samoan background.
I mean,
they could play some football, brother.
You know, he's coming in with like those tribal tattoos, and I'm just gonna be like all for it. I love it.
Hey, real quick, can I just say I wanted to make the correlation here as you were talking about currently the richest man in the world. On June 2nd, Oracle stock was 166. It's currently 217.
Wow.
And it jumped from 166 to $215 a share in 10 days in early June. So who knows? I mean, maybe that had something to do with the run of recruiting. I believe there was an AI like $50 billion deal that Oracle inked or something like that.
I think it's more so from Michigan recruiting. I think Michigan recruiting impacts Oracle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it would have been the other way around, but
no,
you know,
I think it's Michigan recruiting.
Actually, billionaires are good. Shout out to Larry and Jolyn.
Hot take. I actually don't like billionaires except for Larry Ellison, who helps my football program.
Absolutely. If Larry Page, if you want to get on my good graces, come on over.
So you get Malachi Lee, then you get let's see here. We had Titan Davis, Zion Robinson. You get Carter Meadows at edge. Then you get Julian Walker at edge. And you're sitting here like, okay, you know, I mean, those two guys, Julian Walker and Carter Meadows, I mean, who is that comparable to? And is that like a Hutch and Ojabo type situation?
I don't even know because those guys are different classes. I mean, Carter Meadows was always like, for me, a little bit of a pipe dream. I mean, he's a 5-star on 3. He's just outside of 5-star range on 247, and who knows, he'll move up. But he's 6'6", 230, like prototypical edge rusher. He's from the same high school, I believe, as Kanoa Winston from last year's class or this incoming freshman class. So obviously some familiarity there. Kid that takes his academics very seriously. So Michigan's going to be a good fit from that perspective. I mean, any kid like that, it seems Michigan's always going to have a chance for. But yeah, it was an Ohio State Penn State battle. Funny enough, when Ohio State lost out on Luke Waffle, Owen Waffle's brother.
Yeah.
Interesting. Owen Waffle's at Michigan, transfers to Penn State. His brother goes to Ohio State. They must have just not had a great time at Michigan. I don't know. You won a national championship. Could have been that bad, right?
Yeah.
But once Ohio State lost out on Luke Waffle to USC, I was like, oh, they're going to probably up the heat. It's going to be a tough battle. But then I remember that Ohio State's kind of poor on the NIL front. So it all worked out. But a couple of months ago, I was like, I don't know if this is going to happen. And then Julian Walker, his dad's a strength and conditioning coach at the University of South Carolina. He's 5 minutes from campus. But kids, they want to make their own path, right? Like
sometimes that's like a super advantage. Sometimes it's almost a disadvantage because it's like, it's like my dad was the assistant principal at my high school. Like, yeah, that was great. Sometimes other times I'm like, man, I wish I went to school like 20 minutes away so I could be alone. Right. Like,
right.
There's some things to that,
I wish your dad was my assistant principal. That would have been actually kind of sick.
He does love you. You're the guy from you're the guy from Bleacher Report.
Yeah, no. But yeah, I mean, so you get both of those guys. Titan Davis, I mean, been wanting him in the class for a while, and it just it takes these guys getting on campus, having that plan, and also we talked about it with Bryce. The house settlement really cleared some things up for that. I mean, I don't know if it's that much of a coincidence that it really started to pop off once that.
I think it's very, very much correlated.
Exactly.
I think that. Sorry to interrupt you real quick before we move on to that though. Is like I think that the whole like not saying numbers thing. That was a big rumor that Michigan was holding back. I think that there's some truth to that, right? It's like,
absolutely.
And it was smart. They weren't going to throw stuff out until they knew what was going on. Now it was, you obviously saw the house settlement got settled, and then it was like, all right, foot on the gas completely. And then they've immediately had an insane 2-week, 3-week stretch.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, I remember when Mikhail Blade, what a name, by the way. When Mikhail Blade committed, it was like, okay, finally, like, get somebody in the class that had been a minute. And then, Alistair Vallejo, who do we say it that he just kind of reminds us of Mason Graham a little bit? Like, I don't want to put too much expectations up. Not that my word carries that much weight.
You can say it in the fact that, like, we don't know. I'm not going to predict that he's going to be a top 5 pick in the draft someday, but he literally does just like remind you of it from a like look standpoint and everything.
Did you see the AI picture that made its rounds of like Mason Graham in a Browns jersey, like handing a football to him? I don't know. It was very funny. It was it came from the 247 board, which we talked about with Bryce. Those guys are insane, and I love them. But yeah, Alistair Vallejo, like, that was kind of up in the air, and it seemed like Notre Dame was going to be really tough to beat. And then, I mean, Sharon put them in a locker. Dude, hey, shout out to Lou Esposito, man. This guy, he's got 6 commits, and all the way from the lowest ranked guy, Tariq Boney, who is still Under Armour All-American and is a super high upside type of guy, all the way up to Carter Meadows. Like, this class is maybe the best I've seen on paper. Like, it is just very deep, very talented. There's a lot of different guys that can play different spots along the front. I'm just, man, it's been a very fun couple of weeks here, because me, I love recruiting, and there's nothing like that dopamine hit when you see Hayes Fawcett tweet and it's for your team. It's pretty nice. It is nice
when he puts that flag out there, even though I'm kind of sick of Hayes Fawcett, like, baiting us, but I fall for it every time. But I wanted to talk about too. So obviously, like, Michigan has gotten some highly, highly rated recruits in the past few weeks, but I don't want to forget about the diamonds in the rough of this class already.
Yeah.
The first one, Jalen Pyle, who I think is, I don't know why he's rated a 3-star, because I do think that he is going to be a 4-star, or should be right now. So there's guys like him, Bear McCorder, Tariq Boney, Markel Dabney. I mean, we already talked about Marky Walbridge. Like, I don't know. I just want to get your take on, like, the guys that round out this class. We're all excited about the Carter Meadows and the Julian Walkers, as we should be, right? But, like, I do love the quote unquote bottom of this class as well.
Yeah, well, with Bear McCorder, I'm not sure. I mean, you look at his offer list, like, it was Michigan, Alabama, and Alabama thought they had him, and again, Michigan kind of put them in a body bag. But, like, dude, it's tough to know, like, how many committable offers, but, like, if you just look through his offer list, like Michigan, Alabama, Auburn, Clemson, Florida State, Georgia, Miami, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Penn State, Tennessee, like Wisconsin, like, again, and who knows how many of those are committable. But I think, again, similar to the Marky Walbridge situation, what I've read or what I've heard is that Michigan thinks he's one of the best interior offensive linemen in the country. I'm not sure why 24/7 has him as the 120th best interior O lineman, or the 152nd best player in the state of Georgia. Like, I know Georgia's got a lot of talent, but I think this kid can be pretty damn good. And so the composite is a little bit more where I'd probably have him. He's 401 in the composite, 34th best interior O lineman, and then 48th in the state of Georgia. I think he could be even higher than that. So with him, I mean, again, it's not Saban's Bama, but DeBoer is still a hell of a coach and a really good offensive mind. And I, would trust his evaluation. Some of the, his offensive line at Washington, obviously he was only there a couple of years, but had to bring in some transfers, like, got a good eye for talent. So
it's also funny too with Kalen DeBoer. People are like, "Oh, it doesn't even matter. That's not Saban's Bama." It's like, before last year, which was his first year at Alabama, he was the hottest name in all of college football.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with Jalen Pyle, I mean, I don't know. I mean, he committed last year. You wonder if a kid, like, sometimes. By the way, he committed October 16th. 2024. I think we were probably very drunk at that point of just, like, sorrows of watching the team.
Which also, shout out to him for doing that. Like, I don't know that I would have committed to Michigan at that point, because, like, things were not up and up here in Ann Arbor.
Yeah. I think he was a 4-star at one point. I don't know what happened. He put up some good stats last year. Actually, I think I'm trying to Goodness gracious, they gave me so much data here, Justin, on the 247 page. Yeah, I think he's just been the same rating the whole time, but he put up 63 catches, over 1,000 yards, and 19 touchdowns last year playing in Texas. So, I think, who knows? I don't know if it's a case of just he committed early and it was, sometimes those guys get forgotten about. And it's like he doesn't really committed to Michigan. It's like, I don't need to go to all these camps, right? And all these 7-on-7. So maybe that's part of it. But I do think he could be a good ball player for Michigan. Markel Dabney was committed to SMU, just recently committed to Michigan last week. The thing that I like about him, Justin, is that Pitt was in on him. And I think Pat Narduzzi is a bit of a tool, but I think his evaluations of linebackers are always pretty solid. So anytime I see Pitt in there, I'm like, okay. Like for a linebacker, I'm like, yeah, this guy can probably play some football. So
100%.
And he's going to be part of I want to say they're probably going to get at least one. I don't know if they're going to get two more. I wish Bryce was here. He could tell us because he knows all. But I know they're going to get at least one more linebacker. And they're kind of unknown where that's going to come from. But I mean, that's about the only question mark I have is linebacker. Otherwise, I mean, this class is man. I'll tell you what, I really like Mason Bonner as well. He's like, there was a picture of him and Matt Ludwig on their visit, and Ludwig's a little more filled out. I think Bonner's like a big body receiver. So who knows? Like, we've had good success with big body receiver looking tight ends in the past, top 10 picks even. So we'll see how it turns out. But yeah, there's a lot of sleepers in this class, but there's also a lot of like super high end talent that
we haven't even talked about. Brady Smeagol too, who I think is really good.
Honestly, about as good as you can hope for in the class following a quarterback compared to Vince Young, right? And Cam Newton, like that's about it. I mean, he's a top 150 kid. So yeah, Brady Smeagol. He was before Brady Hart had committed. Smeagol was kind of in there, and then he commits to Florida State, right? And then once Hart reclassifies and goes to A&M, Michigan doesn't have a 2026 quarterback, and then he decommits, and then it just kind of happens that way. So, yeah, I mean, again, what a complete 180 from quarterback recruiting. And, I mean, dude, 22, they took Jaden Denegal, Alex Orji. 2023, is that Kendrick Bell? Was he the quarterback, right? Yeah, the 24, Jaden Davis. So, I mean, so 24, Jaden Davis, 25, Bryce Underwood, 26, Brady Smeagol. Lot better. whatever. I mean, from JJ, in 21 and then 22 and 23, and we're not great. And then 24, 25, 26. So it's going to be nice to have some quarterback depth.
It will be.
I think he's going to be good.
Yeah, and speaking of, you mentioned Bryce Marich. He was very adamant on our pod on the last pod. Don't worry about the class, right? Because this was, he came on kind of at the beginning of recruiting stuff. We were just getting rolling in the month of June with this, this momentum. And he was like, don't worry, I'm not worried about a class in the beginning of June. And just like that, all this goes down. So pretty, he predicted that pretty well. But then I just want to talk about what you've mentioned multiple times now is Michigan being the bully on the recruiting trail, which we have really never seen in, pre-NIL. You never were able to because you had the Clemsons, the Bamas, the Georgias, whoever that was maybe doing NIL before NIL, right? And so you never really had a chance. And then even in the early stages of NIL, Michigan just wasn't as aggressive in, trying to put a huge offer out. And you had the Oregons, the Miamis, some of these teams that were like, hey, we'll just throw out giant numbers and try to get guys, and that's how we're going to get them. And so Michigan was always more strategic. Now, I think that Michigan is still being strategic, but willing to play ball with the top of the top guys. And you mentioned multiple times, they've stuffed some other teams in lockers with the Carter Meadows and the Julian Walkers and, these types of recruitments where I just don't know that I've seen that before, where when it comes down to the end of a recruitment, Michigan is like, no, you're coming to Ann Arbor and like, let's make it happen right now.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, a lot more fun than the alternative, right? Like I've been following Michigan recruiting since I was literally like, I would say like a preteen. Like I remember following Sam McGuffey. Like so I've been following recruiting more than half my life, right? Like I love this shit. It's just a nice supplement to like being a fan because you get content all the time. Yeah. Like if I didn't follow recruiting, I'd just like have to watch old highlights, which I do that too. But I like to have a mix.
Sounds like you're just a sicko.
I am, brother. I love this thing. Yeah, I really don't know if I've ever seen Michigan act this way. I'm sure this is what it was like in the late 90s, and
right.
But like maybe not. I don't know, because it just seems like you go to like the Oregon board and there's a top 50 corner safeties, kind of a hybrid player. I don't know if it's Devon Benjamin out of Christian Oaks in Southern California. He's a top 50 guy, big time player. And like you go to their board and Oregon writers are like, yeah, Michigan's surging, and all their boards like, fuck. Like, you know what I mean? It's like the Baker Mayfield, like, so I don't know what it's like to have experienced this before, but
you know what,
for the last month, it's been nice.
It's the LeBron where Kawhi checks back in and he's at the free throw line. Kawhi checks back in and he's like, oh damn.
Yeah.
It's like you know, which I mean, really, to your point though, like we've never had other teams like think about how significant that is for Oregon, who has Phil Knight, basically do have unlimited NIL and have been the top dogs in NIL for the past few years and still are, in my opinion, right now. For them to, you know, be like, hey, Michigan's in the picture now, and everyone's like, shit, you know, like how are we going to keep up? Right? Like that is super significant.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, anytime that Michigan gets involved, people are like Alabama. Like Alabama was like, I'm so sick. Like their fan base on their boards, like, I'm so sick of Michigan. It's like, what reality we're living in, right? So, you know, I think with Michigan, it's a staff of obviously great recruiters, but also, you know, having the monetary aspect and component to it, which is very funny. Like, I've seen a lot of fans of particular fan bases be like, "Oh, they're just buying players." It's like, it's so funny though, because you could go back and forth. Like last year, a lot of Michigan fans were like, "Built, not bought."
I mean, I might have had a few tweets saying that exact thing out there.
Yeah, but you know, sometimes you got to spend the money and lose your biggest rival. I mean, it's okay.
Yeah.
But like, it is very funny to see like fans of like Alabama and Georgia be like, they're just paying players, and it's like.
It's like, dude,
did we fucking kidding me?
We all know what was going on for the past 20 years. Where we like,
no, I think it's been going on since like the 50s.
Exactly.
Like that's when the term amateurism came up.
Right.
For Bear Bryant. Yeah. So it's just it's very funny. I enjoy it. I like being the big bad team on the recruiting trail. I've never experienced this. It's amazing. I'd like to keep doing it.
I would love to keep doing it.
I mean, dude, we're talking about this class, and it's like there are a couple of guys out there that if Michigan can close, I can't remember who all was there because you can do the class calculator and see what it would look like. But if they get Hyder, Calvin Russell, the 5-star receiver, there's a couple other guys. It gets them to like 24 commits, which they're not done at that point. But it would have been good for like third the last 2 years and fourth and 23.
Wow.
With points. I mean, it's insane.
That is insane. The other thing I wanted to ask you about too was, did you see Julian Walker's dad's comments, his like quotes about Michigan?
No, I didn't.
I don't have it verbatim here, but
did you know he comes from the Herbert tree?
Really?
Yeah, so maybe him and Tress are tight. He's going to come to Ann Arbor.
I mean, so for context, Julian Walker's dad is on the strength and conditioning staff at South Carolina. Tanner, you said it. They live like 5 minutes away. Yeah. I mean, essentially should be a shoe in there, you would think. I mean, if that was flipped and we let, you know, a kid whose dad was on the staff somewhere else, we'd be freaking out right now. So fair for South Carolina fans to freak out at that situation. Yeah. But Julian Walker, while on the staff at South Carolina, talked in like insanely good about Michigan's staff and was just like, their staff is just like next level. Like I've never seen anything like that. And I'm like,
Shane Bieber's looking at him like,
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Like it was pretty crazy for him to say while employed by another big their top program, whatever. But that I do think that, like, yes, Michigan has come to play with NIL. It's been amazing. Shout out Champion Circle. But I do think that the staff that Sharon has put together is very significant in like the role of what has been going on. You look at Lou Esposito, Lamar Morgan, Sharon himself, like, these are guys that have built relationships with these guys too. So, obviously in the world of NIL, money is always going to be a thing now, right? That's just the reality. So it's going to be a factor. But I do think that, you're hearing you're hearing like the quotes and the reasonings for guys to commit. They always talk about the staff and the relationships that they have with them.
Yeah. I think that's such an important component because most schools are gonna have money. Like the schools that Michigan's competing with are gonna have money. You got to still set yourself apart, right? Just like you did pre-NIL. So yeah. I think with the group of coaches that Sharon has on staff, I think he's done a phenomenal job. And yeah, I mean, I think, to your point about Julian Walker's dad, like, you still have to do what's best for your children. And I know people, and I try not to get ever upset about recruiting. Like I enjoy the wins, but I also try not to get down on like the losses because at the end of the day, it really, for the most, like 99% of the time, and there are some, some uncles that probably try to, get something or whatever from their nephew that's going to play right. But 99% of the time, and I kind of realize this now being a parent, like you just are trying to do what's best for your kid. And so that's, right. I'm sure there's a lot of upset South Carolina fans yesterday and today over that commitment, but it's like, I mean, he's going to the University of Michigan. Like, say what you want, but he's going to get a phenomenal education. He's going to play big-time football, maybe the most recognizable brand in college sports, all of college sports. I mean, you could go to literally any country in the world wear a Michigan hat, you're probably going to get a Go Blue, right? Like the brand, the alumni base, like all those sorts of things that go into it. And no disrespect to South Carolina, which is a good school, but they just don't have that reach. And also, like, yeah, they had a decent year last year. Lost to Burt, in the bowl game. So like it's just one of those things that you got to do what's best for your kid regardless of what your employment status is. And so I understand being frustrated. I would be frustrated if like Justin Tress had a kid who went was a big time recruit and didn't go to Michigan or whatever. I would get it, but also like you got to do what's best for your family. And so maybe he comes to Ann Arbor. We can always use some strength and conditioning. I'm sure we'd welcome with open arms.
We definitely would. But it leads me to another question, that has been an ongoing question for a long time. Tanner, when's the hammer coming?
I'm not going to make a joke about this because it's very sad, but what a selfish piece of garbage. And if I'm not going to go into anything further than that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've seen folks like Brohio. Let me ask you this, Justin. Do you think the Brohio from the message boards is the same Brohio as on the Netflix? I don't think they exist.
I like to think so, just for like the lore of it. Yeah. Like I want to think that that's the same guy. But I mean, they've got to like, in what world are they living in? Because it's not the same world that we live in.
I don't know because Brohio has started to slowly ease the fact that, hey, this is probably going to be in just not much of anything.
I love that slow realization of like starting over, like way over here where it's like the death penalty. Like this is like, postseason, ban. It is, vacating wins. It's all these things. Then it's just been like, wait, no, they're still getting recruits. Wait, no, that everything's going to be fine.
Oh, no, they're going to lose out on 5 official visits in 2027. Oh, my God. Like, that's what it's going to be some stupid shit like that. So,
yeah. I love the slow realization. But, I mean, what was it? Like June 6th, right, was the day that everyone thought was going to be.
It was like a month ago. What? I don't know. Something happened.
It's been a month. And it's just going to keep on, in my opinion, the way that the NCAA works is like things just get kicked down the road forever and ever. And
well, the way that the NCAA works with Michigan is they'll probably announce something like the Friday before New Mexico game.
Isn't that like actually the timeline though?
I think so. Yeah, it's so interesting, isn't it? Isn't it funny?
Like it's just so funny for them.
Yeah,
it's like a pathetic organization.
I still, because you can sign stealing, and this is probably the last time I'm going to go into it on this podcast until we have some sort of answer. I still would like to know, because sign stealing, you can steal signs from the All-22 film, from the broadcast. You can match it up. You can do all those sorts of things. And like a guy on Reddit went and just like he said like either 75 or 80% of the like plays, like with the play call sheets or like the like cardboard or whatever, you can see 80% of them on a broadcast. So, however many you can see on the All-22 now, you still got to make it up to get to what Connor Stallions was doing. But do you realistically think that maybe 10 to 15% additional makes that much of a difference? And also, the other question that I have for these folks is, it's not Madden. You can't just hit square or X to audible and get everybody into position.
Yes.
Unless all the players were involved, Justin, and they knew, and they had like secret Bluetooth earphones to get relayed from Connor Stallions.
Did they all have the Meta glasses? They could have. They were. I'd have to go back and look, but I don't believe all of our players were wearing sunglasses during all the games. But I'd have to double check. Maybe it was in the visors. There's just so many possibilities.
I mean, hey, look, Kate Stover, he let us know that Michigan was able to blow up like a tight end screen out of a formation they had never run before. So I guess.
Actually, wait, that doesn't make sense because
it doesn't.
How would So
I don't know. He seems like a very bright and intelligent individual. So,
well, I just think it's funny. When's the hammer coming? Michigan, like I do think it's got to. There's just a lot of copium still coming out of Columbus in that greater area from the Buckeyes of needing to obviously they need to talk about their their national championship. I'm good for them. They went on a great run last December and January. Amazing. That was right after they lost to us for the fourth time. I don't know if you remember that.
Did they win a Big Ten championship?
So they haven't been to Indy in a long time, I'll tell you.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
And then, they Michigan's going crazy with recruiting, so they're kind of squirming there. But the hammer's still coming, supposedly, for a lot of them. Some of them are coming to the realization. And then you have Jeremiah Smith coming out and guaranteeing that he's never going to lose again to Michigan.
Is he going to transfer?
Where is he? Is he transferring to? I don't know. But it's just there's just so much going on there. And, as we have experienced, I wouldn't tell any player of any program to ever guarantee anything.
Let alone two.
Let alone two of them after what's happened. If it happens, it happens. He is no doubt one of, if not the best player in all of college football. He's unbelievable. So let's just get that out there. I'm not downplaying what he does, but you just don't need to say that because now it's everywhere. It's all people are going to talk about.
He also said, I will not lose to Michigan.
Wow. So
transfer, do some one-on-ones.
There's
not a team sport. There's 22 guys on the field, brother.
22 guys, and also personally, if I was he's very good. If I was guaranteeing that stuff against a specific rival team, I would have had to take that team and not go for just 35 yards. So
yeah, well,
that's a hot take.
He had a touchdown, but I still think he pushed off. So he's a great player. Don't get me wrong. He's a dog. I mean, I can't even. There's nothing that I can say that he's a stud, but not what I would have done. But I've also never been the best player in college football, Justin. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if I was that athletic, I'd probably say some crazy.
I probably didn't say words. Yeah, so I guess I shouldn't be talking here. No, man. I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. I like it for the rivalry. But you got 2 games, and we're coming with a real quarterback this time.
You got to come to Ann Arbor. We still have one of the best defenses in the country that you go against. You, in my opinion, are not going to have as good of a quarterback as you had last year or the year before.
Right? Look at their defensive line, by the way. They have not recruited that well.
No.
Like, they have that transfer Bo Atkinson on the edge. Otherwise, remember Caden Curry? He's like, I guarantee we won't lose. Brother, you're 0-3 now. I love that.
That was in his recruitment, right? Like,
it was like, I think it was like on signing day. He's like, that ain't happening again. It's like, that's 3 times in a row. But like, you look at, and we'll talk about this as we get closer to football. This is what I can't wait to talk about. But like, Michigan's offensive line is going to be improved, right? And love Donovan, but I think the duo this year, I love obviously Kalel, but I think the duo this year has more ability to get north and south and run hard and physical. I think with the fact that we're going to see Michigan have a competent, I hope, at least competent passing game.
Right.
Love our guys last year.
It's going to be improved.
Yes, and we love our guys last year, and they won some big games, but just weren't able to stretch the field in a way that kept defenders out of the box for Michigan to be able to run successfully. I really think that Michigan is going to have a really good run game, and also depending on what Bryce can do in the passing game, the offense might just open up. But I feel really good about that last Saturday in November, Justin. I might need to talk to you about getting the tickets secured, brother.
July 2nd.
Don't care. Don't care.
You're getting me fired up. I love it. Yeah, man.
They lose a lot, man.
I don't know. I mean, I think once again the pressure still is on them. I mean, there is going to be a lot of pressure on Bryce.
The defending national champs, which is hilarious.
Yeah, right. Like the pressure's still on them because I think that you look at what's going on. Ryan Day still has to win that game. If he loses another one, even with the national championship, like there are going to be talks, right?
I feel like we've done this the last 2 years though, where it's like we're not going to put up with this. If you know what's hilarious? They were always like, if he started out the same the way Jim Harbaugh did, he'd be gone.
Yeah.
Sure about that? Like, come on. Don't sit here and act like you're any different. You're big bad Ohio State, yet he's going to come into Ann Arbor. He's going to get smacked around, and we're going to do the same song and dance in 2026 when Michigan's going to Columbus. This is what we're going to do. And
also, like, you have to acknowledge the difference in the programs when each coach took over, right? It's like
Ohio State. You don't have to use logic, Justin. Come on, dude.
Like, what are we doing here? But I also want to say, like, the Jeremiah Smith thing is funny to me because now, like, there are Twitter accounts out there from Ohio State fans that have been talking about how the Michigan game doesn't matter anymore because of the playoff and all this stuff. And then their best player by far comes out and says, like, all he's talking about is Michigan. They're like, shit, I think that game matters.
that little scrimmage.
Yeah, the scrimmage in November.
I can't, dude. It is, and I understand there's, people that work at like Barstool Sports, right? Like the 2 Ohio State fans that are there, and they have to make content and try to be funny, but like that switch up is crazy, bro. Because Big Ev and Ohio's Taint, whatever the fuck his name is. I can't stand that guy. Dude, he's talking so much. I'm sure you saw this, but he's talking so much trash about Tarek Skubal. Tarek Skubal goes to Pardon My Take in the office. He didn't show up. What a little, what. But like for the switch up, and I think those guys, yes, they do content and they try to be funny or whatever. Doesn't always work. I don't think they're always funny. Yeah. But like to go from like fucking Ohio State, like taking off every layer of his, but which by the way, it was like 40 degrees, dude. You need 17 coats on. Can't lose that game 4 times in a row. Can't lose 4 times in a row. Then to now be like, oh, it doesn't matter. Like it is a crazy switch up.
Literally talking to Ryan Day on the golf course or wherever they were too.
Yeah, and then from Big Ev like crying on Twitter in a video to then like that little scrimmage, like it is I think it is one of those self-preservation things, though, where it's like you're going to say and think what makes you feel happy about the things that you like, right? So it makes sense.
Twist it, whatever.
Yeah, but I never once, when Michigan never won a national championship, obviously when they lose in Ohio State, but like I never once sat there and was like, well, this doesn't matter anymore. Like it stung every time. And I hated when Justin Fields sat up on that podium and said Ohio State took it more seriously than Michigan, because he was right at the time, but he'd also been there 6 months. So the fact that Michigan hasn't lost since then makes me very, very happy.
I agree. Well, in recruiting here, we also are not done yet, right?
No.
Like I think there are a lot of Sharon eyeball emojis, still to be had.
Yeah.
So I don't think the fun is done yet. I think that I'll be able to do this a few more times. I think. I mean, can you imagine that? Like, we're like 8 beers deep at the tailgate this fall, and you look over, and I'm just like on stage with
when I see that, it's time to do either a shot ski or a Bongzilla.
For sure. I think we got to do it. So it's definitely going to be of some significance that I'm wearing this. But Michigan's not done yet. We're going to have some more podcasts coming out here soon of talking about new commits that we've got. I think July is like when do we go into a little bit of a lull in recruiting? Is it more so July?
Probably after this. Well, I don't know. I would say probably after this week. Fall camp's going to start up late July, early August, so coaches are going to be busy. There's no more official visits. But I mean, so just so everyone knows, I'm sure if you're listening to this, you are very aware. If you're this far into the podcast, you're a sicko.
First of all, I love you.
Yes. So Travis Johnson, who is the 4-star receiver from Chesapeake, Virginia, he commits on July 4th, on Friday. I don't know exactly when during the day. But then Dorian Barney, we didn't talk about him. 4-star corner. He's from Georgia. A kid that Penn State thought, dude, I can't take it seriously right now with that on, by the way. I just because I was on the top targets page, and then I click back over to this video and you're just there.
I mean, this is an electric factory. You can't say it like, no. I mean, it's just and it's got the natty thing on the side too.
I might need you next time you're up there to give me one. But so Dorian Barney is a kid that Penn State felt really good about. Once again, put in a locker. All the crystal balls coming Michigan's way. He commits on the 5th, on Saturday. Excuse me. So a couple 4-stars most likely coming Michigan's way. To your point, Justin, about like keeping kids in the class, you just never know what's going to happen in recruiting these days. But both guys that, for all the way everything's going is going to be probably going to be Michigan. So, and then again, I mean, just to recap here on recruiting before we get out of here, guys still on the board: Savion Hyder, 17th in the country, number 1 running back, 5-star. Calvin Russell, 21st in the country, 3rd ranked receiver, 5-star. There's a couple guys, again, the Devon Benjamin kid, number 49 in the country. John Turntine, who's a kind of a swing offensive lineman, probably going to Texas. They have unlimited money, Justin. They certainly do.
But if we get Russell and Hyder, I mean, this is that would be an unbelievable class.
Well, and here's the thing too, like a lot of these commits have kind of come out of nowhere. So, and think about last year, Michigan down the stretch flipped the number 1 player in the country. They flipped Shamari Earls from Georgia. They added so many guys late. They're probably not going to have to do that this year, but they're in a position of luxury to where it's like, hey, that 5-star over there, we might say, hey, what's up? Well,
and I do think I said this to you before we jumped on. I think now the biggest thing for Michigan is going to be keeping this class intact, right? I think that's the hardest thing to do in the NIL era is like fend off some of the Oregons, Miamis, et cetera, that come in late with big offers.
Or you got to fend off the Michigans.
Hey, is Michigan the bully now?
We're one of them.
We are.
Right? So Yeah, I'm with you on that. But I also think having like a fuller class before summer ends makes it a lot easier because then you can focus time on the guys that you want to be selective with. But then you can also focus time on the current commits that you have and just check in on them and make sure everything's good, right? You don't have to, you're not like trying to cast a wide net at this point of the year, which is nice.
Yeah.
Some schools are.
We're
not in that position.
We're not. You'd rather be in Michigan's position, having the guys and fending other people off than being the guys that are trying to poach, from other schools. So Michigan's in a great position here. But we'll have some more podcasts coming out. Again, July 12th, head to Feldman Chevrolet of Highland.
Get yourself a Silverado.
Get yourself a Silverado. We will be there with Bryce Underwood, Marlon Clyde, Fred Moore, Mason Curtis, too. I don't think I mentioned his name. Donovan McCulley. So we'll be doing a live podcast. You can come hang with us and see those guys. Who's a bigger deal there, like us or Bryce? Like who? It's a toss up, I would say.
Probably Bryce.
I don't think I can wear this. If Bryce will be like, I'll never talk to you again if I wear this. So
it's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay. We won't judge. We've had I feel like a crazy run of just like, we were hanging out with Kirby Joseph at the NASCAR race.
It's true.
And we're gonna do this live pod in about a week with Bryce and the fellas. And then on the 26th, Bryce Merritt is gonna be at our golf outing.
Yes, please go sign up for the golf outing. Talk Bryce Merritt. You can meet him. He told me this is actually a great text exchange. I said, I am going to offer unlimited scoops that Bryce can give out to golfers that are in the Blue by 90 golf outing. His response was, the only scoop I will be doing will be scooping my ball out of the water. So that's pretty good. So he's got jokes too.
Yeah, I haven't played golf since my daughter was born. I think Justin, I think that's correlated. I do think that is a correlation.
Very
and so we'll see how it goes. I'm not going to pick them up. They're still in a travel bag from the last time I went on a bachelor party.
Wing it. I love it.
That's sometimes the rust helps, because my swing's so bad. Exactly.
By the way, the quality of this thing, like,
is that OSHA certified?
Honestly, it could be.
Yeah, you just need to get a little. I think you should put some of those helmet stickers on that. Like my helmet.
I was gonna do a horn too.
Hey, I just want to say, I don't know if these are gonna be for sale, but shout out to our boy Nolan, who does a lot of our graphic work. He sent me a sticker set that would be on my controller. I haven't put it on yet because I have like a black and then like a royal blue controller for Xbox. So I'm like, I don't know if it's gonna look great. So I'm trying to see if they come out with like a navy color and then I'll do it. But then he also sent me some mini helmet stickers, and so now my winged helmet looks more official. Pretty sick. That. Pretty tight.
I love
that.
All right, shout out Nolan. For us, you can follow us at Blue by 90 on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Blue by 90 Podcast on YouTube and BlueBy90.com. We appreciate you. Go Blue.
Go Blue.